the principal let us listen to President Roosevelt's address to the nation, and we knew then that a lot of us would be going to service. So after I graduated and went to the bank, then I worked there 11 months, and then finally came time for me to make a decision to go to the service. My other brothers, Bradley had joined the service. He joined the Navy, and my next brother, Morris, joined the Air Force. And that happened in about a two-month period of time, and it came around November, or just prior to November, I decided I needed to go too. So I had my mother to take me to, I was just barely 18 that day, on November the 1st. So I had my mother take me to Notary Republic down the street. He swore me in service at that time. I'd already tried to enlist, and I decided to go with the Air Corps because I liked that branch of service. And then after that period of time, on the 10th of November, I was going to go to work one day, but on the way home, on the way to work, I decided I'd go by and get my physical. And so I did so, and that was on the 10th of November. And I never did get to work this morning. I finished my physical. They shipped me out to Camp Robinson, and there I was. I didn't get back to work until 3 years later. So that was how I got into service. My experience there. I remember when I got off the train, was lined up there on the platform, and the insto in charge kind of walked down the line and looked at me and says, "You're too young to be in service. What are you doing here?" So I was going to come back at him, but I decided I better not. But anyway, I survived and went over basic training there, KP and all that things that goes with basic training. And that's how I got my military life started at Keesler Field, Mississippi. I was assigned to the base cadre, and I guess I was going to stay there for an unknown period of time. But I wanted to go overseas. That's the reason I joined up. I wanted to go overseas, so I went to the major in charge of our department there, and asked him to give me a transfer. There were 3 units, the 41st and 42nd and 43rd Air Depot groups there, all getting ready to go overseas. So finally, after a lot of persuasion, many times I went to, he finally granted me authority to transfer to one, so I went to the 42nd Air Depot group and joined the 42nd Repair Squadron, and that's where I really began my military career. There in Albuquerque with the 42nd Repair Squadron. We were getting ready to go overseas, so we shipped to Fort Dix, New York, New Jersey actually, and we spent a short period of time there, and I had a chance to go to New York and kind of see some of the sights there that, a little boy like me that never been out of the state of Arkansas in his life was kind of impressed by what he had seen. But we went up on top of the Empire State Building. At that time, just prior to that, the Normandy had been sabotaged. The Normandy was a big transport ship. A large ship I think at that time, for passenger carrying ship. And it had been sabotaged, and it was laying on its side in the harbor. So we had the opportunity to go to the Empire State Building, and we got up top of that and looked down over that. It's just amazing what, that such a large object like that could be scuttled right there in the harbor, but it was, nevertheless. We sailed across the Atlantic. Not in a convoy, with a single ship. It being an English ship, and the fact that we were stationed on H deck, which was down below the waterline, our food was prepared by English mess sergeants, and most of the time we had mutton to eat. And mutton, if you've been around cooking mutton, it doesn't have a real pleasant odor. So, as a result, the mess hall was just a little down level from where we were housed. It just got unbearable. Guys got sick, and fortunately I never did get sick, but I decided I wouldn't eat any more. So we had chocolates most of the time while we were traveling over our place of destination. At that time, we didn't know where we were going. We moved down to a little town, Kilkeel, which is just near the Irish Free State border. And we were at Kilkeel, and that's where we set up our first base of operations overseas. There were 300 B-26 Marauder bombers there. Downtown, they had a little get-together where we went every Saturday I guess it's Saturday night, where they'd meet in a town hall there, have singing and dancing and polka and all that, So I volunteered to sing one night for them. I sang "God Bless America." Well, they must have liked it because every time I go back to town after that, they want me to sing "God Bless America" with them again. So we were in Oxford the day prior to V-Day, and that morning you could look at the sky, crossing all aircraft, just one end of the horizon to the other. Of course, they were going in, preparing the way for the landing the next day that we didn't know, So that was quite an experience to see them there. Now such a vast amount of aircraft in the sky one time just overwhelmed me. I couldn't understand. I knew something must be going on, but we didn't know what that was. We went down to Southampton. Southampton was the port of debarkation to go into France. So we went down there and spent several days waiting our turn to be moved in. So we went left Southampton and landed on the Omaha beach, and that was a couple of weeks or so after the initial invasion. Still a lot of debris around, but we had to stay on the beach for some period of time, maybe a week or 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, waiting Cherbourg to be taken. Cherbourg was going to be our first base of operation. So we waited until they got that secured. French Rock invited me to their home to have dinner. So I went to the dinner one evening and sit down at the table. It was a big apartment building. Her father must have been, he was somewhere in the French government, but they must have were well-to-do because they'd have, every time we sat on they'd have a 5-course meal. And I had planned to go have Christmas dinner with them. They'd invited me to come to Christmas dinner. But unfortunately, during that period of time, we were restricted to base. We couldn't go anywhere because of what was happening in the northern part of France, and the Battle of Bulge. And in fact, a lot of our men were called out every morning to go into infantry, and they were given a short period of training and went on up to the front lines and participated in some of the battles there. Fortunately, I didn't get called. I guess fortunately, I really kind of, in a way, I hoped I would be, but I never did get called in. But anyway, since that happened, I couldn't go to the Christmas dinner that planned for me. So after the battle had ended and we were released, we still go. I went back to the home one day and dropped by there. They had saved a menu. They had prepared a big menu for me, and they'd saved that menu and had listed all the things there that they had for dinner, And I really regretted that I had to miss that. There was one time that we were looking for a special piece of equipment. They called it a hardness tester, tested metals. So I also looked for a long time to find it. And finally I said, well, let me see what I can do. So fortunately, through some means, I finally located one. And was brought to base. Well, the lieutenant was talking one day in our supply area there, and Captain Shaper who was a friend of mine, came in, and our lieutenant was telling him what he had done in acquiring that piece of equipment. So dumb me, I speak up and says, "Lieutenant, don't you remember? I'm the one who found that." And of course, he remembered that. For the rest of my career, I was a staff sergeant at that time. My MOS called for a tech sergeant, but he wouldn't approve me for an upgrade. And one of our sergeants, Master Sergeant Sipes, I believe was his name, he came to me. He says, "You know, Lieutenant so-and-so don't like you very much." I said, "Well, I kind of suspect that." But when I got back home, after service, I've been home sometime, maybe a year or so, maybe. Here comes this lieutenant. Called me and wanted to meet me. So he came out of my house, and we were sitting there in the living room. He says, "I just wanted to drop by and tell you why you didn't get ticked." He said, "You remember what you did in front of Captain Schaefer?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "I remember that too. So I want to come by and tell you why you didn't get your promotion." I can't imagine. I couldn't believe that he had dropped by and just to tell me that. But that's the way it was. After Paris, we moved to Reims, France, and I was at Reims when the war ended. And I remember the old building, the little red building there, where the armistice was signed. Eisenhower was there, and the general, general of the armies, our German armies there, and several, and I think the Russian people, and all were there at the signing. And I was told, and later on learned, that Eisenhower wouldn't enter the room until the German general had signed the armistice papers. But we were there. I thought that's quite an experience. I thought being at Reims when the war ended, and the armistice was signed at that place. It was really interesting. It was something that I wouldn't trade anything for. It was. I grew up, and I was kind of proud of what we had done, although I really wanted us to have participated in some other types of situations, but that wasn't our meat, and so I was satisfied we did our job well. We received a citation for all the work we had done through England, France, and that made me feel good that that we did enough that was recognized, and I've got a copy of that citation I keep with me now.